Lately, the plants are dictating which are the ones that need attention the fastest, and in this case are trees. Yeah, I have trees.
Our father planted this tree. The main objective is to build a bridge.
And I believe also, like I'm gonna put notes down below as I speak, because I think there are two more. They are not under the Elastica, but hi, welcome back. Today is gonna be very different than the rest of the episodes that I've been doing so far. Now, the reason is that lately the plants are dictating which are the ones that need attention the fastest, and in this case are trees. Yeah, I have trees. Now, these are considered houseplants, especially because they can live indoors, usually close to a window. And the genus is Ficus. One is the Elastica, and the other one is the Lyrata. And I believe also, like I'm gonna put notes down below as I speak, because I think there are two more. They are not under the Elastica, but the ones that I'm gonna attend to today is the Elastica per se, and I'm gonna show you what is going on with them and what do they need a little bit of a repot. Now, before we jump in, I wanna show you something that I like to share when I found good deals on containers. This one was also from the dollar store, but it had this little crack in here. I asked the manager for like price reduction, even though without the price reduction was $6 for a container. That's cheap. But after this was $1.50, so that's much cheaper. I added drainage holes. The first one that I have today is the Ficus Elastica Burgundy. Underneath it had a bit of mulch. Give you a shot of what is the conditions right there. The roots have grown into the mulch and start expanding from there. But when I got it out a couple of months ago to like shine the leaves, which I do like every 6 months, it start to look inside a little. After a little while, it got a little droopy. But I remember that when I pull it out, there was still some resisting on the mulch underneath. So the roots were already growing out of the pot into that mulch. And this is my Burgundy. Has thrown roots down into the mulch, so it's gonna need to be repotted soon. I have teared it out now, and I'm gonna show you the rest of the Ficus Elastica and the Ficus in general in my collection. Let me show you what happened. Look how this root had gone bananas on that mulch. The problem is that that mulch doesn't have much material for this tree to continue to grow. And this one right here is I believe it's an Advijan. The difference is minuscule, but a couple of different varieties of the Ficus Elastica. This is a Advijan. It's a little deeper and the veins are really burgundy color. This maintains the red color on the vein and it's a lot darker. It's almost black in comparison. Now, these trees are known for getting big. And when I say big, I'm talking about huge. This in the wild can get up to 100 feet tall. Yeah, 100 feet tall. Of course, it has to be in the natural habitat. It has to have the soil to grow, because if you do like a picture of what the root system is and what a tree is, basically it's like a mirror image of the tree being that high. It needs that much room for the roots to grow in order for the tree to grow into that size. Of course, when we have it in pots and containers, especially if it's inside that doesn't receive any direct sunlight, the plant will grow much slower. But this one receives full sunlight till about 1 o'clock. I'm probably gonna trim some of this, and that's gonna give the tree a little push because these roots are very dry. That's why the leaves are kind of droopy. We have a ruby that is growing into the mulch underneath. Very Now we're just gonna clean it. That's my ficus ruby, and this one right here is a ruby that, let me show you now, is also having a little bit of the same problem, but this is still early. So this one is gonna go in this pot, and this one is gonna go on that pot. Let's get started with this. There's another little Abidjan, I believe, that is growing here on the side. Now I found a couple of interesting things about this tree, and it's the fact that, for example, in India, where they're native, most of the ficuses are native of West Asia. In some parts are even considered sacred, like a bridge between heaven and earth. And talking about bridges, there are different types of ficuses, but there are some ficuses that in India they actually turn into actually living bridges. And I'm gonna find pictures of that, hopefully, and put them down below so you can see it.
Our forefather planted this tree. The main objective is to build a bridge to cross this river. And this way also goes to another village. To name is Maolong village. We have to cross this river. Bersipar mengulang ikan ini kita, kemudian kekam lempar hi, namal try hati sop sopusan san pusnem lamutam.
And the drainage holes here are quite small. So for that reason, I'm not gonna try to save these roots. I'm just gonna cut them off, hope for the best, and start over in this spot where it's gonna have more room to grow. Because those roots, for that reason of this mulch, might be sick. And I have had this tree for like 3 years, easy, because I brought this one with me from Dallas. And I don't want to remove the soil. All I want to do is to like just loosen it up so the roots are not choking, and you can start throwing new roots around the new pot. And you can see down here there was styrofoam, because at the beginning this was probably half the size and the roots were not as massive as they are right now. But again, I'm just gonna leave that in there. I'm just gonna give a little tap so the roots have a little more access to oxygen. And I think that I want to mention, before you tackle into this type of plant, especially the Elastica. This is an Elastica, Ruby is an Elastica, Sineki is an Elastica, and I believe the Altissima and the Shiveriana are also Elastica. Just because of the fact that, and the Audrey, just because of the fact that when leaves have come off on all of them, there's that white sap that comes out, and that's actually rubber, named Elastica for that.
He's wrong.
And then this is an Altissima. Right, so I'm gonna skip the leaf shan on this one because my back is killing me. This is my Audrey. Now be careful with the sap of these trees, because it's actually latex. So if you have any mild allergies or to latex, your skin might get all irritated. They were the source for rubber. It was coming out of these trees. Later on, there was discovered a different species in Brazil that became the victim for deforestation of the Amazon forest just to get rubber when the whole industrial and automotive industry started booming in the early 1900s. For that reason, it's also an easy repot. And then after this, it's going to get a really good water, and having created all that room from smacking the mix around and creating those pockets, the tree actually will be able to get better access to water, to nutrients, and everything else. Now this is a very easy tree. I have also seen them grow big around here in the neighborhood. I hope to have a couple of shots of them whenever I go take a walk, because there's one just like this, a block over, and it's probably like this tall. There's another one that is like the regular green Robusta, I think is the name, that is a few blocks away, and that one is about 12 or 15 feet tall. So now there are, in the Ficus genus, there are over 100 varieties between the trees, the shrubs, and there's also vines. And it's going to look a little overfilled right now, but the reason for that is that with the upcoming waterings, this soil level is going to get lower. Now we'll see if it throws a fit. Now these are quite troopers in general. They're not as sensitive as, you know which one I'm talking about, the Lyrata. I have my Lyrata right there. And I'm going to show you also a video of me shining the leaves at the same time a few months ago. First I put it inside and it started looking sad. So I brought it outside. And now outside, I have tried it here 3 different times. I have tried it on that corner. I have tried it like in that cove where the moss balls are, and I have tried it there. They have dropped basically like all the leaves except for the little ones on the top, but that is known to be a quite finicky or fickle type of plant. Liquid coconut oil. But funny enough, the one that I had in Dallas, that it was mostly indoors, but I will take it outside when it will rain or to like give it like a good water. Even with those switches and stuff, never drop a leaf except when it was like ready to die off, that it was yellow and it was old. But and that one got to be about that high, but that's of the plants that have to be left behind. I don't know if I sold it or I just left it because there were plants that were like just left as I'm driving away. They are like in the yard. A whole different story that if you're interested, let me know in the comments and I will tell it on a different repot. So let's repurpose this. See, like the holes that we had here are not that big, but you saw like the amount of roots that were coming out of the bottom. These roots are also very dry, so I don't think there's much of a point on saving them. And this here's a clear example of the wimp versus the trooper. There are 2 plants here. Look at this one and look at this one, and they were the same size when I planted them. You can see there's styrofoam also in the bottom. But this time, one of the things that I do the styrofoam in the bottom, it was to alleviate the weight of the pot. The reason that you see these holes right here, I put these holes in here so I could like grab the pot and move it around, because back in Dallas I had to do a lot of that, bringing the plants out, especially when it was raining, because the water was so bad that they love rainwater, especially directly from the source. And then I have to bring them back in when the sun came out, when it was too high, when it was too cold, and everything in between. Also, my house was quite dark. In general, I didn't have that many grow lights to turn all of them, so they were by the windows, but they were having a lot of transport happening on the weekly basis. Another thing that you can do if you want this plant to actually like branch out, because as you see it's just one stem in general, and you can see a little bit of the branching with the fiddle leaf fig, but these ones will branch out only when the root system has grown massively and they know they have the room to expand. But there's a way that you can do notches, and then there will be a branch growing out from these notches that you can do. I don't have the room of the intention to turn this into massive trees. You know, they're not on the ground. So maybe if this was my home, I would put them on the ground. My garden will be completely different. But I ran here. That's the whole point of the name of the channel, content growing, because 98% of my plants, I would say 99% of my plants, are in containers, are in pot. So that's it for these repots. I'm just gonna give them a good water now, but then I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna give you a good shot of the other elasticas and ficuses that are around the garden, so you can take a look. You already probably saw the leaf shine on them. I have the shiveriana here. There's 3 of them, and this is the Tineki. I'm not gonna do that on this right now because it's still summer here, and that coconut oil, if it's not well wiped off, it can produce scorching on the leaves. I like to do that when it's like early spring or late in the fall. So that's it about the ficuses, the elastica, the fiddle leaf fig, and the rest that you saw today in this episode. Thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoy it. Please drop a like if you did. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. It means the world to me. And if you want to add extra support, there is a link on the screen right now and on the description down below. If you want to add extra support through David Reactions, I thank you very much. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.